So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are going to talk, the purpose of this session is to discuss some pressing issues and concerns to do with the world of journalism. And I'm going to speak to two people. One is an investigative journalist. He's one of the best investigative journalists of our time, Mr. Ravi Nair. And the other is arguably the best fact checker of our generation, Mohammed Zubair. And the fact that, we decided to call it, in a sense, we decided to call them accidental journalism, and what they practice are, they practice journalism, and, here the title is accidental journalism, So I think, do you guys think you are accidental journalists? You came into journalism by accident? Ravi, can you start with that?
Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be here with all of you. എനിക്ക് മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാൻ പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല, പക്ഷേ സുബൈറിന് മനസ്സിലാവില്ല, അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാനും ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലേ പറയുള്ളൂ കേട്ടോ. I started my career as a journalist way back in '95. And as a young reporter, I understood how tough this job is in just less than 2 months, and I quit. I came back to journalism in 2016. And I thought it's a pressing need of the time. And I had a long corporate career. And when I came back, then it was tough. It was really tough financially and even otherwise, because social media was thriving, and the right-wingers, if you write anything on the government, question the government policies, no, of course, they will tarnish your image, they will threaten you, they will file cases against you. For example, I'm facing quite a few cases, defamation cases, basically SLAP, strategic litigation, just to silence you. I mean, luckily, I've never gone to jail just like him. They put him in jail for a long time. Okay, so I am an accidental journalist in the sense that I never thought I'll come back to journalism, because I had a very good job, a corporate job. I was earning good. After coming into journalism, I almost lost everything. I ended up, doing crowdfunding for my survival. There was a time where I couldn't pay my children's school fee on time. I couldn't pay the rent of the house which I was staying in on that time. It was a tough time. But there are a lot of good people who support. And when I did the crowdfunding, I raised almost nearly 5 lakh rupees in a month. That was, when I was working, I never thought that's a huge amount. But when I did the crowdfunding, on that time, I really understood the value of that amount. So yes, I am an accidental journalist, and when I look back, I don't regret. I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, and being an accidental journalist is not a bad thing, but you are an accidental journalist in a very turbulent period of Indian journalism. So as someone, I would like to take the liberty of talking as a person who has seen both sides. I was a journalist before 11 years. We are talking about a period in which a lot of things have changed. So Zubair, you came into journalism much later, like even a few years after 2014, that that threshold year, when a lot of things changed. And when you look back, we all know that the media and journalism are not the same. It doesn't, there is no striking resemblance to what it used to be before that. So how did you come into journalism, and what did you want to achieve by being a journalist?
Hi, thanks for having me here. Yes, like I never thought I would be a journalist. I always tell this to my friends, like in 2011 or 12. I didn't even know who the Prime Minister was, like who my CM was, or who the MLA was. I mean, I was not at all into politics. I think in 2012-13 is when I started getting involved in politics. That is like through Facebook pages. I mean, those days, like not many were on Twitter or Instagram. Most of them were on on Facebook. And I was active on a few Facebook pages then. I think
Susu Swami, I remember.
yeah. I was on Facebook pages, but I was on Facebook pages as commenter. I mean, I always used to comment on others' pages. A lot of people would appreciate me for my comments, for my views, and I think I had made a lot of friends who were admins of those pages. And slowly, I think in 2014, soon after the general elections, I saw a lot of changes from the people who were managing those pages. I saw a shift in their views. The way the things they were against before slowly started justifying whatever was being done. For example, anything about corruption or anything unfortunate incident that has happened, they would call out people then. But now, soon after the 2014 election, they would justify, abhi time hai, matlab, it's like he's just come into power, give him some time, 100 days about corruption and black money and whatnot. And that is, I mean, and they also started dividing people into Hindu and Muslim. People who were always like, they came as if it was like only about corruption, only about black money. I mean, at least the supporters. Soon after 2014, they started seeing in two different eyes. And that is when I was like disheartened and I wanted to create a page. I did not know, I started a page in 2014, September, October, it was a parody page of Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, the politician from...
The name was Susu Swami.
Yeah, Subramaniam
This
Swamy.
is a super hit page.
Yeah. Subramaniam Swamy. And then I think it was a parody account. I used to imitate him the way he used to tweet on in those days. I used similar slang to write whatever I have to write in a sarcastic way. And a lot of people started following me then. And many were actually confused. I mean, they thought it is actually Subramaniam Swamy. And so what they did was like, they were actually confused because when they see here, it's totally a different person. And when they see tweets by Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, it's like a totally different one. But similar, I mean, way of expressing it. So if you started complaining it to him, sir, like you're totally two different persons. Like you on Facebook, you're different, and on Twitter, you're different. And he, after a point, like he was like so frustrated. He started seeing my post, and he got to know it is like someone who is like trying to imitate him. And then one day he tweeted saying like, if Facebook does not take down, that is my page, that is a parody page, I would sue Facebook. And I was actually scared. I thought maybe I had around 50,000 followers then, and I thought probably my page would go. The next day, what happened was Facebook took down his page instead of my page. Probably they thought it could be, his page is actually toxic, and that could be a false one, and mine was none. And then,
but were you still working with Nokia at that
I was still working with Nokia, and this was in 2014, and that is when a few, I think News Minute and the Times of India covered about me, and but the page got a little famous, and by 2016-17, I had good number of followers. And I got in touch with Mr. Pratik Sinha, my co-founder of Alt News. He was running a page called The Truth of Gujarat, which was documenting the crimes in Gujarat. And I was like great fan of him and his father. Back then, I've read about his father, Mr. Mukul Sinha, who fought a lot of cases for victims of 2002 riots. And then in 2016, because I used to travel a lot, when I went to Ahmedabad, we happened to meet once or twice. And then we decided we had good number of followings on Facebook, but what people only who follow us would get whatever we post. We also started fact checking, in individual capacity, but we wanted this to go further. So we decided why not start a website, a not-for-profit organization. And then that is when we started this in 2017. And
okay, I think Zubair adapted faster than Nokia adapted to the changing realities, and which is why you seem to click and thrive as a journalist. So now, what has happened, over the last 11 years, which we see right in front of our eyes, is that legacy media is vastly different from what is journalism. The two things are different. Media is different from journalism at the moment, as regards legacy media is concerned. And the consequences stand out. You know, one is that the editor has lost the power as an institution, and the reporters, you know, who are supposed to independently go after looking for news, you know, they are forced to run public relations. You know, it's almost bordering on public relations. So at this point of time, there is a greater role for independent media, and you know, it's underlined by recent you know, interviews and news stories done by a lot of others, including the kind of work that you do. And investigative journalism becomes a greater urgent necessity at this point of time, because the government is not only lying to the people, but government is, you know, in a state of delusion, lying to itself. What are your thoughts on this, Ravi?
One of my first article was that, you know, I used to follow politics. Like every other Malayali who follow politics, it's in your blood, right? So I have my own opinions. I never expressed it, but I followed politics. I was not an active politician, and I'm not an active politician. I'm not a member of any party, for that matter. But I have my own, as everyone else, I have my own political opinions. How politics should be, and it's for what. So during 2016, I started noticing something. This government is launching, you know, schemes every other day, left, right, center, the government schemes. And everything is Modi. PM Modi Yojana, PM Modi, that Yojana, this Yojana. So I just tried to study that, and I compiled a list. I think I did 21 or 22 schemes. Then I found out all of them were old schemes. Some schemes even started way back in 1985. So they repacked it, renamed it, relaunched it with Pradhan Mantri Modi's photo, with a big media flash. So Modi is giving. That was my that was the first article. Then, I mean, it was not even an article. It was a tweet thread. Then there is a famous finance journalist in Mumbai called Sujeta Dalal. She called me up saying that, can I publish this? I said, please go ahead. Then I used to, I mean, I had subscription to two newspapers on those times. One was Times of India and second was Indian Express. Then I started noticing the way they published the news. It was changing. I had a TV connection. I was an avid watcher of news. I used to watch news debates regularly. I gradually lost interest because, see, news media, the journalists and the media houses, they are actually watchdog of the society and the government. They should be. But that's not what was happening. So what we can do? So that's when I started writing. And I decided that I will not write just like a beat reporter every day. I'll find out topics which nobody is speaking about. I'll follow that very closely. I knew it will be tough. It is tough. But I'll find out what no one else is seeing, and I'll tell that to the world. That's how the Rafale scam broke. Modi went to France and just one fine day announced 36. We found out that he did not consult anyone else. It was a unilateral decision. That is not how an elected democratic government works. This is authoritarianism. The same thing started reflecting in media every day. Can you point out a single article or a single news debate or a single news point where anyone questioned the stand of the Modi government? In the last 6 years, can you point out a single article in any of the mainstream newspapers or media channels? Yes, Till 2023, there was one. Towards end of 2022, NDTV. Now that's also not there. So in these times, it is necessary that somebody should say the truth. That's what we are trying to do. And we, it's not me or Ravi Nair alone. We are a few colleagues, all independent. We collaborate with each other. We share informations. And if somebody is leading a project, all others support them. That's how we write.
Yeah, Zubair, as fact check at one point, maybe when you started off with your fact checking career, if I can call it, it was seen as an extension of journalism, and now I think it has become journalism, part of journalism very much. So, because journalism as a craft requires a lot of verification, and increasingly we are in a digitalized era, and there are a lot of websites that have come up that are peddling falsehood. So, how do you look at when you started off Alt News, when you co-founded it, and over time? How has it changed? Especially I also want to know from you about how generative artificial intelligence, ChatGPT and the like have influenced or changed. I was reading your website, and there is a methodology. So how have you adapted? And what are the new challenges? You can talk about generally the evolution of the challenges in starting off.
When we started off, hi. When we started off in 2017, it was like mostly about misinformation by individuals, saying like a photo taken out from one location and add a communal claim and say it is from this location. Specifically, if it is say a non-BJP rule state, they'll put out saying, okay, it is from there. But over a period of time, it has changed a lot. Initially, whenever we put out a fact check, also one of the reason why people, many hate me and also love me is because we just don't fact check. Writing an article was one thing. It may or might not reach more and more people. What I particularly do is I go to them. For example, if somebody has tweeted it, some famous personality has tweeted it, I go to him and I reply to him in my own way, and I also co-tweet him so that more and more followers of mine and his get to know what it is. Because in those days, in 2017, 18, and at least till 19, people were a little, okay, if they put out misinformation and if they get to know if it is actually misinformation, they would politely at least apologize, saying, okay, this is like by mistake, or maybe embarrassed, or just delete it. Saying, okay, maybe because they followers got to know that it is, okay, he has done it intentionally or unintentionally. So they were at least courteous enough to at least delete it. But now that is not the case. Unfortunately, even the mains, even if you call out a media personality, be it an anchor, famous news anchor, they are happy to be, to keep the tweet as it is. Because what now they say is like it's like a fight between two people. My followers think it is actually false, but then, even if Mr. Zubair, even if he's fact-checked it, but they've already been abusing him for what he's done. So they are okay with it. So, it's like they want two people fight, but then their revenue to grow, their facts to grow. This is how it is. Unfortunately, those days I remember like people who were into trolling, abusing people, now they have set up umpires, for example. Now they have set up agencies wherein they get funds indirectly, directly from the government to run troll army.
Do you have a list of suspicious handles or accounts where you closely follow every day?
Yeah, a lot of handles.
Who are these? Where does who are these people? Mostly politicians, and does it include ministry handles?
Okay. Initially, people say it is BJP IT cell as such, okay, but it is not directly funded by the BJP. The funding model is totally different. For example, I know a case I'm closely following. We are hopefully about to write also. I don't know how much time it would take, but there's one person like who was a normal troll who would always abuse people on Twitter. He is now running a company. I mean, I recently saw in 2024 December, his company had put out saying by 2025 our turnaround would be around 400 crores. 400 crores. And these companies, the people, what these people do is like he got in he got in touch with a lot of politicians, MP and Chhattisgarh, wherever the BJP is. They have agreement there, and what they usually do is they get tenders, government tenders. And for example, if you have to distribute a shawl or maybe food or whatever, I mean, small things, they get a tender which is probably around 10, 15, 20 crores or whatever the amount is. They get the tender. You know the means how easy it is for them to get the tender. Maybe there would be only 2 or 3 companies, and both 2 or 3 companies would directly or indirectly be his or his colleagues. So anyways, only 2 or 3 people will get the tender. And that, I mean, soon after getting the tender, they will put out photos of them giving shawls, distributing food or masks during the COVID. They put out photos or videos. And after that social media thing, what they do is the remaining amount, they do this for 1 or 2 days, and the amount what they receive, they use it for the influencers on Twitter and Instagram. There are a lot of influencers. I mean, most of the influencers, especially the pro-BJP influencer you see, are getting funds from these people. So this is how they run. I mean, it's not directly given by the BJP or political party.
Can you give some examples of some handles?
I don't want to give it for now, but yeah, because...
Without taking name, I'll say one instance which happened a couple of weeks ago. One Twitter handle, one guy, who openly said that certain politician offered him, because Modi's birthday, they want to celebrate, and he openly told on Twitter, and he posted a letter. He got a letter and the format what he should tweet, and they offered him 145,000 rupees for that. You can check. If anybody is active on Twitter, I think it's there in Instagram
because
also.
He's already told it on Twitter, right?
Yeah, he openly said.
And he later on deleted it. Yeah, that's Ajit Bharti, who had already... I mean, I'm saying it because he's already told it from his Twitter account. But there are a lot of other things which go on. I mean, like these influencers were hired by directly or indirectly by the BJP politicians, and the same influencers, unfortunately, are now also being in collaboration with the mainstream media, mainstream anchors. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the photos. This is how it is. I mean, they want their content to be amplified by these influencers. So instead of calling out these people, they are in collaboration with this.
So, when it comes to amplifying...
I'll say another instance. These right-wing influencers were called by Narendra Modi. He had a session with many of them, and these photos were published widely to encourage more people to act like them and to proliferate the views of the government and the ruling regime. He can give more example to that.
Just recently, I mean, you must have seen the issue of E20 ethanol, wherein, they were individuals like us, like there was one of my friend called Capsology, his handle is Capsology, and many others who started calling out, showing before and after examples of using E20 and what was the mileage before and how it is now. And slowly that gained traction, and it was organically, a lot of people started putting out about it. And then there was criticism about using E20 petrol. And that is when the Ministry of, Nitin Gadkari and many others started reaching out to a lot of influencers. Initially, it was only about a particular influencer who is ideologically aligned. But now what they are doing is, these ministers or maybe the ministry people or even the media persons, for example, anchors, they reach out to influencers who are having good number of followers on Instagram, because more and more youth are watching videos on Instagram. They are more active on Instagram. So what they do is they reach out to them. I mean, we've also written an article saying how many influencers were in touch with these people, because how the content what they put out was totally directly or indirectly funded by the politician. So this is how it is. Most of the things are running on donation. Influence. when.
Yeah, that's true. But again, when you talk about amplifying something, there is also the opposite of that. Where your stories are invisibilized and silenced, or nobody talks about it. With Ravi, I want you have broken a lot of stories. And at some point of time, some decades ago, when the Bofors case emerged, it was amplified in the media, in the legacy media. When you wrote about Rafale, or when you wrote about crony capitalism, Adani is getting, Modi government waiving the border security laws, to ensure that, business is, smooth, running of his renewable energy park is smooth. So, what was the amplification, or what was the response from legacy media?
Nothing.
There was a response from social media, I would say.
Yeah.
That is again trolling by somehow saying Soros funded.
See, actually what happened was Modi government, in Indian borders, so the defense protocol is like that from 10 kilometers from the border areas, except in the already existing villages, you can't do any new construction. Even in the villages, you can construct a school or a pond or road or a playground, nothing beyond that. Here, Modi government changed that rule and allowed Adani Group to construct a mega renewable energy, solar and wind power project, just 1 kilometer away from Pakistan border.
This is in the Ran of Kutch area?
It's in Ran of Kutch in Gujarat. And you can see, if you visit the place, you can see the border line, border roads and the fence, you can see that. And in the recent India-Pakistan conflict, Indian Army shot down BSF and Indian Army shot down around 8 drones from that area. Nobody was speaking. This was not in public domain that this rule was amended. I got hold of these documents from Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Renewable Energy. I published it. In India, nobody was ready to publish, so we published in one of the renowned newspapers, UK, it's based in London, The Guardian. And I got a lot of calls and mails, appreciated, but in Indian media, no one, not a single one, carried the story. Even in Malayalam channels, no discussion happened. It's a very major thing. The government is changing our defense management rules and regulations for one private company and its profit, just because that company's owner is close to the Prime Minister of the country. And that story, opposition created a ruckus in Parliament. They asked the questions. Government never answered. Other than that, the opposition protesting in the Parliament was a news. But government changed, why they are protesting was not the news, because government changed the rule to support one private company. That was not a story at all. So that is how it is nowadays.
And what about the Rafale story? Was the story different? Was the response any different?
In Rafale story, what happened was slightly different for the reason that whatever we have broke the story, it was not completely carried by the mainstream media, but it had some traction. It had some traction, and there is this well-known defense analyst. He was a journalist once, and he was a very decorated army officer, Colonel Ajay Shukla. Ajay was in collaboration with me, so Ajay was writing in Business Standard. So it had some traction, and then I got a bunch of documents. When we put that documents out through the wire, it had real traction because many mainstream media picked it up. And in follow-up, the Hindu newspaper's former editor, N. Ram, veteran journalist, N. Ram, he did a series of stories on Rafale. So if we say that mainstream media did not do, that's wrong. And NDTV carried a lot of stories. All these stories NDTV carried on that time because it was not under Adani then. So, yeah. it had some traction. But now the story is different because Ella Modi Mayo Lebo. So everything is Modi, right? So nobody speaks.
So, what are the hazards of being fact checker at the moment? Has it changed drastically after the 2019 elections? And has there been any phase of improvement in which you thought, that you are able to strike a chord with people? Are there rays of hope, at least?
Yeah, as when we started, we actually thought as soon as we write a fact check, people will get to know about it, which is totally not the case. And as like this is the one saying, right? By the time you tie your lace, like the false there. So yeah, true. So, but then one good thing about this is like we are also present. I mean, we have good presence on the social media. People carry our, we just write articles and at times also make videos. I put out tweets. But yeah, by the time it reaches, fact check reaches, it is late. But nevertheless, it's actually reaching people. Maybe not to everybody who've seen the misinformation, but it is reaching more and more people by various means, say by videos. Like there are videos by many journalists cover our articles, either in print journalism or even by on YouTube or many digital formats. So it is reaching more and more people, but unfortunately the misinformation, what we thought it would come down, has actually grown into multifolds. And initially it was by individuals or by, say, someone who would support one party. But now it is, I would just give a recent example. There was this case of, in Ladakh, there were two stories which we recently did. About one man being identified as a Congress councillor who instigated people to burn the BJP office. It was started by Mr. Amit Malviya, the BJP IT cell head, and it was like the same thing was tweeted by multiple MPs and MLAs of their party, and soon after it was viral on various platforms.
Even news minutes, news anchors. I have seen Padma Joshi quoting you, and news anchors, spread it. It was a false news. He highlighted it's a false news. Then even news anchors were spreading it again after that.
Saying what? What was that?
I mean, the thing was, they identified one person with a ponytail who had covered his face, saying he is a Congress councillor. He was the one who instigated it, and he was like the one who took it. So, I mean, I was busy and my team was also busy because of the Durga Puja thing in Kolkata going on. And I think after 1 or 2 days, I saw that and I thought it was not him. And then I somehow, because they had given the name of the person, the Congress councillor, and it was by then run by multiple, I would say almost every Hindi news anchor, they had now identified one villain, that is the Congress councillor. Because, I mean, there's no Congress presence there or not as much in Ladakh. So they had identified, they want one villain to show it is him. So they found one villain in Congress or opposition party. And they ran for 2 days, and then one fine day I got to know it. Like it took, say, half an hour for me to do that. I mean, it's just that his name was available. I had to search his name on Facebook, see his Facebook profile, and see a few photos of his, and try to see the similarities of his other features, except for the nose and other things. I could not see it as him, but then now I'll have to prove it to people. For that, I tried finding out more and more visuals from that event, wherein he was not wearing the mask. So I found a few of those, and it actually took not more than half an hour or 45 minutes. It's a simple fact check. There's no rocket science in it. You just have to put a mind on it. You'll have to, I mean, there should not be confirmation biases. Like you'll have to think critically before putting out anything. But unfortunately, now what the mainstream media, the mainstream anchors, especially the TV media is doing is like whatever they get from the IT cell, it was like, initially it was IT cell head would give material to the troll army who would take it forward and amplify it. Now it is exactly opposite, like the same person, but now instead of giving it to the troll army, he is giving to the media army, who is amplifying the misinformation more and more. And by showing it on television, it's like you're making the reach even more worse. And then when you call them out, I've not seen one person deleting the tweet. I mean, I've called out 15 or people, including several media anchors, not one have taken it down because they are not bothered about their reputation.
Because there is a sense of impunity. People can walk away with impunity even if they commit something really atrocious, which might have resulted in loss of lives of people or caused riots or whatever. So, what do you think can we do about it? Do you also cooperate with, or do you spread awareness campaigns? About how to for a lot of things in the world have become user friendly, and is fact checking becoming user friendly in terms of the technologies that you use, like reverse Google search and all these things?
Yeah, few things like reverse image search is the basic reverse image search is enough. I mean, it's people think fact checking is something very serious. It's not exactly. And anybody can be a fact checker or maybe be critical. You just have to put on your critical mind and think about it, and then try to search about it. But yes, a few things like Google image, reverse image search and many other things have become helpful. But people now are also thinking, for example, AI bots like the ChatGPT or even Grok from Twitter are helpful. But I personally don't think those two are helpful because, I mean, it takes information which is already available. If there is no fact check available, it usually gives out I mean, even that spreads misinformation, saying it is him. I mean, it is not the same case. So for now, I would still not rely on AI for the fact checks. But yes, like fact checks, the AI has helped a lot of people who would want to spread misinformation by editing the videos, photos, and whatnot. But for now, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to crack that and maybe make this helpful, maybe use such tools to share it to more and more people of our fact checks, or maybe it could be simpler. But as of now, I don't see that happening.
And I want to ask, because the whole premise of this talk is to highlight the fact that you are accidental journalists and what you are practicing are, journalism, and you have learned a lot of things from what you had done before, technology. And in the case of Ravi, it's his ability to crunch numbers and understand, read balance sheet and stuff like that. So, Ravi, can you tell me, both of you, I would want you to tell us about what are your learnings and what you think, what you think are the ways in which your previous profession has contributed to your practice, your craft as journalists.
I studied economics. So balance sheet and reading and balance sheet and all, I mean, of course, I didn't learn. It came with experience. It's in the sense that I learned it myself, how to read the financials, how to analyze it. My previous jobs, I had a prolonged corporate, job, life. That helped me in number crunching and analyzing statistical data. So in certain cases, when it comes to tracking offshore money laundering, round tripping, share market price manipulations, it enormously helps me out. That experience enormously helped me out. And I used to gather market intelligence. The competitive, if you are trying to sell a product and you have different competitors there, and its market is very competitive, then you have to do a competitive analysis. You have to find out what are the strategies. You might not get the details, but you have to find out from what they are doing, what is visible to you. From that, you have to make an analysis that what is your competitor is trying to do. So those kind of experience, it helped me a lot. Suppose I am getting one set of documents, whatever said and done, inside the government, there are a lot of good people. They still give you documents if they trust you and say that, okay, these are the documents, go and write, expose it. So, at times what happens, these documents are only half. And if you have to say something, you have to have the full. So what we do is, we try to analyze in different methods. and we'll keep the draft ready till we get the next batch of documents. And in almost 70% of the cases, that presumption comes correct. It's because it comes from that analytical mindset which you have learned with your experience. So in that way, it is, my previous job was very helpful. Previous jobs were very helpful.
I heard that you were very good with the car sales. So how does it?
I was a very good car salesman.
So how does it help? Does it help with selling your stories?
I did not sell only cars. I was my last job was I was the retail business head of an Apple retailer.
Oh.
I sold phones and laptops also.
And what about you?
I sold Mercedes Benzes and BMWs and General Motors cars.
I'm sure it will help you sell your stories also. At least in the future, you might find some ways to do that.
See, okay, another thing what I have is I met a lot of contacts in this corporate jobs because, networking is, of course, a part in these kind of jobs. So you go to, high-end parties, you meet people, you make contacts. So now, if I need some information within a corporate, I can pick up the call and say, boss, Ravi, are aaja yaar, mil jayega. So those kind of things, it helps a lot.
And what about you, Zubair? Your engineering background, you also, this is also a corporate background, How has it helped you in journalism?
I would not say it's totally helped me. It's like, yeah, sorry. Yeah, like it's.
No, it's not helping in that sense. In this, there are certain things, there are traits that you develop while being in corporate and, to be attentive
Maybe
to
the
certain
patience what I have, like the number of abuses I get on social media is now, comparatively it is reduced, but it's not as much as it was before. And somehow, yeah, and also, I know, not just my engineering days, like I also like to pull legs with my friends. And at times, that's what even I do here on Twitter. It's like pulling leg as in, like, whenever they do something wrong, I go quote tweet them or respond to them, tag them, even if it is a minister. Not many would usually do that. Despite me getting multiple affairs, that is, I have around 12 affairs against me now. Despite that, I do all that. I want their followers to know. I want them to feel ashamed for what they did.
Yeah.
At least they should know people are watching you.
So tell me how important is sense of humor in both ways, in terms of handling these kind of falsehoods and propaganda, pernicious propaganda and all, and also in keeping yourself sober, sane.
There are two things. Like, there are two ways. One is abuse people, abuse their families, which is what many do. Unfortunately. There's another way is like be cool, calm, and as in respond in a sarcastic way, or maybe with facts. First thing is talk about facts, and other way is like maybe even if they abuse you, respond with sarcasm or ignore them. There are many of my friends, like Rahul Gandhi. That is what they do. They never abuse. I've never abused people. Even if they abuse my family or religion or anybody, don't respond to them. Just ignore them. But yeah, I do it in my own way.
And in social media, what I do is, I'll just post what I want to post. I'll never read any of the replies. The moment I go to read the replies, of course, I'll be tempted. I'll get a lot of abuse. So I'll be tempted to give back sometime. Once I did, somebody called, അപ്പനും അമ്മയ്ക്കും വിളിച്ചു. അപ്പോൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ ഇവിടെ നിന്നാണ്. അപ്പം ഞാൻ തിരിച്ച് അവൻ്റെ അപ്പൂപ്പനും അമ്മയ്ക്കും വരെ വിളിച്ചു. പിന്നെ എനിക്ക് തോന്നി വേണ്ട, ഞാൻ കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ അത് ഡിലീറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കളഞ്ഞു. സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ റിപ്ലൈ ഒന്നും വായിക്കില്ല. We'll just write what we want to, and factually. After that, forget it.
But no, also, for example, if you want, in our case, if it is a fact check, you want more and more people to read. I've seen we write fact checks and we publish articles. Maybe the time what we published, maybe many were not there, and it would have gone from their timeline. So what I personally do is I mean, regularly put out, I mean, reply to them, quote tweet them. So which is what like many people get to know. That is when there is more traction. That is where they feel more, what do you say, insulted because they've been fact checked. So yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you very much. And this is what we could cover in 45 minutes of our interaction here. Keep watching Zubair and Ravi. They are online, and you can keep following their work. Thank you. Bye.